When Martin first asked me if I would be interested in sharing one Sunday morning on what was going on in my life at the moment, what God was doing, my immediate reaction was no. However, that's not in line with what God has been doing in my life this year. So here I am. I've had this old top for many years. To begin with, it was sparkling white with bright flowers, a favourite, used for best. Over time, the flowers faded and the white became grey, and I only used it on stay-at-home days. It developed a couple of small holes, the bias around the neck frayed and split, and I stopped using it altogether. While having a sort out earlier in the year, I looked at it, accepted it was no longer used, but couldn't bring myself to bin it. I folded it up and put it in the bottom of the wardrobe with some paint-splattered trousers I'd kept for decorating, although knowing full well that my days of climbing step ladders and painting walls and ceilings are past. However, put it down. We all know how hot some nights have been recently, and I was in the bedroom one evening wondering what I could sleep in that was short-sleeved and cool, and there was Old Faithful. I took it out of the wardrobe, shook it out, and have been using it when it's hot at night ever since. It's been taken out of the wardrobe, shaken down, and repurposed. And that's what I feel God has been doing with me this year. There was a time when my walk with God was bright, interesting, exciting, and productive. Andrew and I saw many answered prayers, and people's lives turned around for good. I heard from God both for myself and others. But gradually, over time, I let the relationship slip and fade. It was no longer bright and vibrant. I reached for the medicine bottle rather than prayer, and I would make decisions and then realize I should have prayed first. I didn't lose my faith, but it seemed like there was a screen between God and me, and I just drifted along. Earlier this year, I was reminded of a picture God gave me years ago. Running it through my mind, it suddenly changed and became something quite different that I felt was meant for our Gather 25 meeting here. Having checked it out with Jill and Martin, I was able to read it out at that meeting in March. That was a real wake-up call for me. I felt ashamed at how neglectful and rude I'd been towards God, and that if he still wanted to speak to me and through me, I needed to sort myself out and get back into a closer relationship with him, start seeking him and listening to him. The Lectico app morning and evening was my starting point, along with a book called Choose Life. One immediate difference was that since living alone, I'd become nervous at night, checking the door was locked 2 or 3 times, and leaving a light on in the hall so that if there was a noise, I could open my eyes and immediately see that there was no one there. The evening Lectico always has a prayer near the end that says, "And so in peace I will lay down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." And with that assurance, I no longer double-check the locks or leave the lights on. It's not always easy, and I'm still inclined to decide before praying, but I've been amazed again at how relevant the readings often are and at God's continued love and guidance towards me. Looking for a notebook to keep track of what I felt God was showing me, I came across a word someone gave me some time ago about stepping out of the shadows, and I feel that is gradually happening too. I've taken a more active role in one of the volunteer jobs I do, mixing with the group members more, getting to know them better, and helping with the activities instead of hiding behind the coffee cups and the lunch preparation, although I still help with that. I've had coffee with a couple of people I've not spent time with before, and joined the welcome team here at church. And here I am, stood in front of you this morning, way outside my comfort zone. I feel like I've been taken out of the cupboard, shaken down and repurposed. But, and it's a big but, We used to sing the song, yesterday, today, forever, Jesus is the same. All may change, but Jesus never. Glory to his name. And that is the reality of the situation. Jesus didn't change. He didn't let the relationship go dusty and dim. Put me in a cupboard with the thought that I might be useful again one day, but with no expectation of it. No, that was down to me. He was always there waiting for me to turn to him. I neglected to keep in touch, talk to him, and seek his guidance. Throughout history, we've seen revivals and moves of the Spirit come and go. And we can have seasons in our own lives too. And I don't want anyone to feel guilty or bad in any way about what I've said, if it's just a quieter season for you in your walk with God. But I know for me, it was something more. And I'm delighted to be back in a closer relationship with him again. If my story rings true for anyone else, I can only encourage you to reach out to God again. He doesn't change. He's waiting patiently for you, even as he was waiting for me.